When President Bola Tinubu took over power, securing Nigeria was one of his key priorities.
We shall defend the nation from terror and all forms of criminality that threaten the peace, dignity, and stability of our country.
Upon assumption of office, the president, after appointing the new service chiefs, charged them to swing into action, while weapons and other arsenals were injected into the inventories of the military. At first, it seemed that Nigeria was experiencing relative peace, except for some worst-affected regions still facing pockets of attacks. However, 2 years down the line, Nigeria's security situation now reveals a concerning trend, with various regions facing unique challenges. For instance, in the northeast, Boko Haram remains a significant threat, with reports of regrouping, attacks on military targets, and as claimed by the state governor, holding down of territories.
While acknowledging the tremendous support of the army, I also want to bring to the kind notice of the federal government of Nigeria and the army that run is the local government headquarters of Kalabelge local government area in Borno State. For the last 11 years, this is the only town which is also the local government headquarters that is standing in the geographical landmass of Nigeria as a village unit in Kalabelge local government area of Borno State. And you have seen yesterday, we have close to about 200,000 people in this town. So what can we do? I'm appealing to the federal government, I'm appealing to the Nigerian army that we should do everything possible to maintain this particular local government headquarters. I've said it all, that government of Borno State and the people of Borno State appreciate what they are doing because they have defeated the insurgents that came a few days ago. But nonetheless, I'm also appealing to them that we shall do everything possible to keep this town.
In the northwest, new and emerging terrorist organizations have created fresh complications for the authorities, while armed bandit groups have sustained their stronghold on rural farming communities. Their terror has extended to the north central, with states like Benue and Plateau worst hit, and deaths piling up in the hundreds in Enugu and Ebonyi states in the southeast.
The most effective way to check that is to ask yourself, do Nigerians feel safer now than when the president came in? The sight and sound of what we see are lesser. Like the past month, over 1,000 people were killed in a state of, we are not fighting a war, but people are wasted every day in different parts of the country. So yeah, you might say yes, the level of kidnapping on the road and all that have abated, but the fear of insecurity is still there. People are still afraid because see, the definition of security is freedom from fear and want. So the question is, are people less afraid now than they were when the president came in?
The issue is that whenever you are talking about security challenges, you tend to neglect other factors, the root causes and those factors that trigger the security challenges. Now, unless you address them, you continue to have that. I would rather say yes and no. And it's a work in progress. We are not there yet, but I think we will get there. However, there are conditions that we have to look at. Up to now, there is issue of politicization of security in this country. And unless we are all on the same page when it comes to security challenges, we'll continue to be moving in a vicious cycle.
Available data from next year's Nigeria Violent Conflict Database from May 2023 to April 2025 reveals that there were about 2,017 incidents, while 7,120 were casualties, 4,209 people were kidnapped, with North Central recording the highest, followed by Northwest and then Northeast.
How much have we invested in our policing system within the last 25 or 26 years in terms of number, in terms of training, in terms of equipment? Take for instance, do you think an average policeman in this country is well equipped, well trained to deal with the crimes of the 21st century? You know, just like his other counterpart. Then what is it that is available to, you know, the other security forces, the armed forces and other security organizations? We have to address, we know that hunger, poverty, illiteracy, to a large extent, exacerbate these security challenges. What are we doing to address them?
You hear of Lakurawas, is it not so? They came up in Sokoto. Why was it easy for them to come up in Sokoto and in Kebbi? Because the environment is rife in poverty, bad governance, absence of government services, absence of governance. The government space is so huge, it's so large that people are, the criminals are very highly resourced. They have resources, they have money, and everybody wants to be part of it. Like I said, and at the same time, we are not recruiting. The police, like I said, is not recruiting. Is it 10,000 people we need in a year?
The situation has triggered an alarm, with President Tinubu directing a review of the national security strategy, emphasizing the need to end violence and restore peace. The National Assembly, too, seemed to have woken up, with the Senate set to convene a national security summit, few years after that of the House of Representatives. This is what the Tinubu administration thinks about security, as presented by the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, a few weeks ago.
Troop has also restored peace to hundreds of communities, and thousands of our people have returned to their ancestral homes. For instance, from May 2023 to February 2025, our troops have neutralized 13,543 terrorists and criminals, arrested 17,469, and rescued 9,821 hostages. Meanwhile, 124,408 Boko Haram/ISWAP terrorist combatant fighters and their families surrendered.
To re-energize the push against violent non-state actors, a new national security strategy was unveiled. But a major concern is that the huge defense spending is not yet yielding commensurate results.
I know that it's a big problem in the defense sector, but the budget, we are not getting value for the money we are spending in the defense sector. And that's because nobody follows the money in the defense sector. Nobody tells you what is done. The money is budgeted and it's taken and it is spent the way. And then you hear all manner of stories about how suddenly certain officers are becoming so wealthy, building estates, building plazas all over the place. How does that happen? Where do they get this money from? So why we are battling with saying that the military does not have enough equipment, they don't have the right type of equipment, they don't have mobility, the way they need the platforms and on there. The criminal elements are resourcing them.
Overall, while the government asserts progress in tackling insecurity, the reality on ground suggests that the country still faces significant security challenges, with worsening conditions in different parts of the country.